How will a 4-week delay affect you? And it might not even be, by the way. I mean, I'm interested to speak to you if you work in hospitality, if you're in the wedding industry, if you're in something to do with theatre, something to do with nightclub, any of those kind of areas that are demonstrably going to be affected. So there is obviously that, and I'd love to hear just how this pans out. I mean, weeks, days, in fact, can be the difference between a business continuing to succeed or just about keeping afloat, an absolute abject failure. It can be that devastating. How will a 4-week delay affect you? But actually, I think there's a wider issue. Even if you're not personally affected by the financials of the piece, and this isn't your industry or your area, I think it's a good argument to say this affects us all in one shape, form or another. 0344 499 1000. So we know, as far as we can tell, and the announcement 6 p.m. this evening live here on Talk Radio, that most coronavirus rules will remain in place for another 4 weeks after that planned June the 21st unlocking. This is according to government sources. Senior ministers have signed off on the decision to delay the lifting of all legal restrictions on social contact. That can mean capacity limits for sports areas, pubs, cinemas, all of that will remain, and nightclubs will remain closed. Boris Johnson, as I say, expected to make this announcement official at 6 o'clock this evening, and the extension will be put to a Commons vote this month and could trigger a sizable Conservative backbench rebellion. We're going to speak to Damien Green in this hour, because Damien's got a kind of a, if you like, a hybrid, halfway measure of dealing with this that might be better. And that, I think, I mean, he'll tell us in his own words in just a bit, but I think that may well be looking at this maybe 2 weeks in and saying, OK, where are we now 2 weeks in? Will there be enough Tories on the backbenches to rebel against this to make a difference? There's certainly a lot of annoyance. Of course, we were due to move to stage 4 of the government's roadmap on the 21st of June. That would have been a week today. Venues, events would have been allowed to operate without capacity limits, and the cap on guests at weddings would be lifted. And right there, you've got a crucial... I mean, can you think of a worse time of year when people are planning weddings? You know, what, July, August, those kind of things. And of course, you don't just plan it one day before. So people are waiting on hours, and those hours will matter. They will make a big difference. 0344 499 1000. Many scientists have called for the reopening to be delayed to enable people to be more people to be vaccinated and receive second doses amid rising cases of the Delta variant, or the Indian variant, depending on your choice of words. As far as I know, now Boris Johnson also said yesterday that more people are ending up in hospital. I'm not absolutely sure that is completely correct. When you look at the data, and remember, data, not dates. That was the big thing, wasn't it? Data, not dates. So we're not just going to willy-nilly say 21st of June and, doesn't matter what else is going on. No, it's about the data. Well, if you look at the data at the moment, the big headline of all the data would tell you that we have over half the adult population who've had both vaccinations. Well over half on that. And, of course, many more people as well who've had the first dose too. The most vulnerable group, it feels ridiculous to even be repeating this kind of stuff. The most vulnerable group are pretty much all double vaccinated. And that, of course, was the whole point from the word off, that don't worry, once the vaccination is there, once we can target the most vulnerable, either because of age or because of an underlying health condition, then we're absolutely right on the right path. The roadmap is good to go. It's good and proper. I feel we've been lied to. I genuinely look at this. I stand to be corrected, I can't find the data that backs up the delay. And that's the problem, right? I can't find it. I've looked for the data that backs up I hear scientists say, well, we better be careful. And the other thing that's happening as well, I think a couple of people already emailed on this, making the point that, if you have a positive test, if somebody tests positive, that doesn't necessarily make them a coronavirus case, as in spark out on a bed completely and utterly banjaxed by a virus. You might have just tested positive. And that's assuming the test was correct in the first place. And there's whole areas and rafts of controversy around that. 0344 499 1000. If you work in those industries, in that area of hospitality, even in pubs that are open at the moment, but with credible rules and regulations. So at the moment we do have that issue where nothing can really carry on as normal. So those pubs and bars and restaurants that have been able to reopen they're not sitting out the back counting the wonga of an evening. They're sitting out the back working out how they can pay the loans and the debts they've accrued over the last year. So weeks do matter. That's the whole point. A month could be the difference between make or break on this. This is pandemonium in the government. Does Boris Johnson even know what is happening in his own government? Do the scientists really know what Boris Johnson should ultimately, as the man who is our leader, is requiring of them? Can you leave a bunch of scientists to their own devices? The same as any other industry. Of course, never give the talent the checkbook, as they say, because they will sing from their own hymn sheet. Well, based on our data, we think. So we've got more people with the Indian variant. Are more people ended up in hospital at the moment? I'm not seeing any data around that. I stand to be corrected. I'm not seeing any data around that. 0344 499 1000. So give us your overview. How will a 4-week delay affect you? Whether it will affect you personally because of the nature of your business or just affect you as a citizen of this country. How do you feel about an extra 28 days?